guys, welcome back to my Practically Imperfect Life. Today I thought I would take you along as I try to tackle one of my June goals, which is cleaning out and organizing the disaster that this schoolroom has become. So for those who don't know what our schoolroom looks like, it's actually the majority of our basement, which is finished. In fact, I highly recommend you check out our homeschool room tour. I will link that video down below for you, and then I can show you the kind of not remodel, but the reworking of the room I did last year. Last year we added in a couch to create some more seating areas, and I just kind of rearranged where things were at to just make it flow a little bit better and allow us to use it for multiple purposes. Because we are kind of at that transition stage in our homeschool where my daughter is going to be a senior, and then, her things will be gone. Oh, don't make me cry. And then my son will still have an additional year. I've also been looking at things and kind of going, well, do we need that? Do we not need that? Could I repurpose that somewhere else in the house? And you know how it goes. You think you're just going to clean it up and straighten it, and then suddenly you're moving furniture around. And that's kind of where I'm at. As I've been cleaning things out, I've been really looking at stuff and trying to determine what will work out best for us. And then the books. Wow, we have to do something about the books. If you've been a viewer for any length of time, you know I have a real problem with books. I just buy them. I just buy them and I save them. And I have several filled bookcases down here. And then I have stacks of books on the floor. And then I have stacks of books that are coming in because my kids are doing literature-based curriculum next year. My daughter is going to be doing the Anatomy and Health course from Guest Hollow, which is literature-based. My son is doing American History Year 1. We are using a bunch of novels for his English next year instead of a formal English curriculum. So there's books everywhere. And I need to get the bookshelves figured out, cleaned up. Something has got to be done with them because I'm out of room. I've got all of these books that we used this year for our literature-based curriculum, and some, yes, I will probably sell, but so many of them are just so good. I would rather save them and see if I can reuse them in the future, maybe either just to read myself, or if I'm working with a group or a co-op, or if I'm writing an elective in the future or something and I want them for reference, I will have them on hand. If I really enjoy a book, I don't want to get rid of it. And I also just need to get all of these new books checked in. I thought I would show you the app that I use to help me organize my library, know exactly what I have, what I still need, find out, if I've got something somewhere in this library that I've got to have before I go out and purchase another copy of it. So I thought I would show you that. And the last thing I wanted to do in this video was talk a little bit about kind of the cost of doing literature-based curriculums, because I talk about them a lot and we really do enjoy them. We enjoy getting away from traditional curriculum and learning through lots of different methods. And people oftentimes will wonder, well, just how much does it cost to do a program like that? So I wanted to take you through just a couple of the ways that you can make those types of curriculums affordable and give you a real breakdown of exactly how much I spent on the books that my kids are going to be using for next year, and just give you a realistic look at it. Bear in mind, I am, like I said, a book hoarder, which means if there is a book list, I'm probably going to buy almost every book on that list. And you don't need to. There's no reason to do that. Don't be crazy like I am, unless you want a great excuse to expand your library. Anywho's, let me take you through kind of what's going on down here and my thoughts on things and just kind of what is going on, because we're making some progress, but it's still a little crazy. Projects. All right, ignore the floor. It is still desperately in need of vacuuming, but this is part of our homeschool setup. So each of my kids has a desk. They each have one of these 10-drawer organizers, right? It's 10 drawers, 2, 4, 6, 8. Wait, is it 9? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I don't know why I thought it was 10. Anyways, 9-drawer organizers. The desks and the organizers are from IKEA. We have had these for like 6 years now. They've held up pretty well. I mean, obviously they start to get a little questionable after some time. Most of this will clean off. Some of it, like, I do not know who decided they needed to put a hole in the desk, but they did. But, overall, they've held up pretty well. and we have an organizer in the middle. Now, last year and this year, we used this to organize lab supplies. So we have chemistry lab supplies in here. We won't be having anybody do chemistry next year, so I'm probably going to get rid or donate all of the supplies. We have some things for physics that we will need to have storage for my son, but that's kind of it. And you can see, like, we really aren't utilizing this as much as we need to. My other thought is whether or not my daughter really needs to have this anymore. Because next year, for her senior year, I was going through her class list. She's going to do a dual enrolled English class, a dual enrolled math class, possibly a dual enrolled humanities course. So, and I don't know what the colleges will require for that. She'll have her Bible study and, let's see, her biblical Hebrew, and then anatomy course. That's going to be the one that I'm providing. And then she's going to do 2 one-semester electives. She's going to do the elective that I wrote, the practical life skills course, and then she'll do the mental health course. But those are like a binder in one book. So here's my thought. Instead of having all of this, what if I cleared off most of this and then let her put her books and notebooks there? She'd have that, plus she'd have, you know, the inside of her desk. And then this could get repurposed elsewhere. And I'm thinking possibly up in my craft room, because I have so many different papers. It would be really nice to be able to like organize them, you know, like cardstock and different types of things, and just have some extra storage. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because here's the other thing. If I can get rid of that, I can do some shifting over here. Let me try to get back and show you this. So this is my current bookcase setup. I have one 16 cube organizer. It's a Better Homes and Garden organizer from Walmart. And then I have 2 8 cube organizers. There's not quite enough room on the end to add another one, but if I get rid of this and I shift things down, I could fit another one on there, because it's kind of full. And I have more books that I need to find shelf space for. In fact, I have a stack of books down there that needs to find a home, and more books behind me. So I don't know. What do you think, guys? Do you think she would be okay with that? I don't know. I'm really leaning towards it, because I think that might be the best solution that we have here. And then let's not even mention the state of my desk, because it's just a little bit of a disaster. And why there's a volleyball underneath it, I don't know. I asked the kids. They don't know either. Go figure. And then my little towers next to it have gotten a bit on the disorganized side, so stuff needs to come off and get organized there. Then, if we swing around, I'll show you the last area that needs touched. So most of you probably find this part familiar, because this is where I film the majority of my videos. Here's where I keep my teacher materials and just some extra things. So this is all actually teacher materials from last year. Our German stuff, which we're not doing German next year, so I'm probably going to like gather it together and sell it online, because I have a ton of German resources. I have some random books. I have this older set of devotionals, and I don't know. I think I should sell this as a set. It was a really good one. The 9 Fruits of the Spirit. We did this over the course of like a year and a half, and it was really good. I think we did this when they were in middle school. Anyways, I would highly recommend it. I don't know if you can still get it, but if, I don't know, if anyone's interested, let me know, because I might just sell the whole set. Because we completed it. We didn't fill them out in there. We fill things out in separate notebooks. So there's nothing written in any of them, and they're obviously in really good shape. So anyways, really good series. If you can still find it, I would recommend it, especially for like your middle schoolers. It's a great way to work on different personal traits. And then I have my Daily Grace Coat devotionals. I have like ones I haven't done and ones I have done. I don't get rid of them after I've completed them. I don't know why, but I like to save them. But I'm running out of room, and I have more that need to go up here. And then the cart. Duh. Okay, so yeah, we need to clean out the old stuff. We need to put the new teacher stuff on there. Start making some stacks of things that are going to be sold, because up on top of the table behind me, we have all of our new gear. All right, this is our new curriculum for next year. Not in any orderly fashion, but you can see I have like my son's physics things. I have his new vocab, his, underneath his electronics course is his grammar. This is the stuff for his electronics course. I've got writing, their Bible studies in 2 separate stacks. I've been kind of matching up things that I've printed off with the novels. So he's not going to do a formal English curriculum next year. We are going to do different lit studies that I have found on Teacher Pay Teachers. And oh, there's cat hair everywhere, I swear. With different books that were recommended for the Guest Hollow American History Year 1. Some of them are in the schedule, like to be read at different times, and other ones were listed as unscheduled reads, like just books that kind of went along with that time period as we were reading it. So I used that to create this list. So this is kind of the breakdown of what we're going to be doing. You can see like he's going to read The Crucible, The Scarlet Letter, The Last of the Mohicans, and then so on and so forth throughout the year. We're going to do a little bit of a poet study near the end, just because as much as we dislike poetry, we probably should study some of the bigger names of American poets. And most of them I have purchased the lit study, like I've got them saved. So that's what the notes are here, like the Robbie Sims, Simply Novel, Ella's ELA. If I haven't already purchased them, I have them saved on my Teacher Pay Teachers site so I can get them at different times. But I will print them all off and I will spiral bind them. So like the spiral binding that I do with my cinch spiral binder, they'll all be in there. They'll be separated by tabs so that way he can just kind of go through them. But I got Last of the Mohicans and Copper Sun. So actually I started reading this, you guys. I try to read the things I'm going to assign my kids, and I am about halfway through this book, and it is heartbreakingly beautiful. It is such a it's one of those stories that just sucks you in. It's not an overly complicated read. Like, it reads really fast, but there is no sugarcoating what's going on in this book. We follow a girl named Amari from the time she is abducted from her village to when she is sold and shipped overseas, to her time as a slave, to her attempt at escape. It's an amazing book. It really is. I'm really glad I'm going to have my son read it. I got the packet to go with it. If you have very sensitive students, this probably would not be one for them. There is, of course, mention of all of the things that especially a female slave would have gone through. So just fair warning on that. Like I said, it doesn't sugarcoat anything, but it is, so far, it's just been an amazing read. So I'm almost done with that one. We've got Common Sense, let's see, Autobiography of Ben Franklin, The Scarlet Letter. These are a few I don't have things printed off for yet. Huckleberry Finn, Uncle Tom's Cabin, White Fang. It's a dual book. It's got Call of the Wild and White Fang, but he's just going to read White Fang. We read Call of the Wild as a read out loud in middle school. Tom Sawyer, and then a few others. Then I have stacks of books that are for his American History Year 1 course. So Guest Hollow breaks American history up into 2 years. The first one goes from like the first, quote, discovery of America to right about the turn of the century into the 1900s. This is the like spine book. It is a beefy book. And then there are lots of other books that he is going to read. Something that I noticed, and I hope he likes these because he tends to do well with graphic novels. There were a whole bunch of these Nathan Hale's Hazardous Tales recommended. And if your student hasn't read these are basically graphic novels about different stories. So like my daughter would not have liked these. She abhors graphic novels, but my son does pretty well with them. So just something to note, if you're not familiar with the series, there are a whole bunch of them. Let's see, Alamo All-Stars, The Underground Conductor, One Dead Spy, Lafayette, The Donner Dinner Party, Big Bad Ironclad, and I think there might be another one coming. Not every book is here, but most of them are on their way. And then I've got a stack of books that are part of my daughter's anatomy course as well. So what I think I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show you how I scan and add these in to the app that I use to organize my library. And then we might just try to, I don't know, start organizing that bookcase a bit. All right, so the app that I use to organize my library is called Book Buddy, and it is a app that you can get free, but I paid a few dollars in order to upgrade it and have the ability to add an unlimited number of books. I love it.
As I get books, I add them into here. I can organize all of my books. I can mark them by different categories, such as if they're read, being read, if they're finished. I can give them different types of tags. So I can mark if they're for a particular course, if they're nonfiction, if they're fiction, just however I want to categorize them. So, for example, if I wanted to see all of the books that I had for our chemistry in the kitchen course, I just select that tag and all of the books that I've put into that category will pop right up. And then I can go into the different books and I can give them a star rating, so I can note how much we liked the book. I can add in comments if I want to. I can put on there if I'm loaning it out to somebody, so if it's not in my library but somebody else is borrowing it, I can put that on there as well. There's just so many different ways you can customize it, but it's really easy to add more books to your library. So let's just we're going to add one, so it'll say add a single book or a single barcode. And you just flip a book over, you find the barcode on the back, scan that, and then it's going to pull up the book with all of the information. What's really cool is it'll pull up the image of the book, all of the pertinent details. So what kind of genre it is, the author, publishing date, if there's a description, it'll have that in there as well. So then I can go in and I can add some tags. So now these books are going to be for U.S. history, and then they are going to be for my son's 11th grade. He'll have some books that'll be for his 11th grade literature. So I'm going to add tags for those. I'm going to go ahead and just add both of those new tags on here, and then I'll assign them both to this autobiography of Ben Franklin. So he'll be reading this officially as a literature book, but again, it is one of those books that was recommended by his U.S. history course. So see, real quickly here, I'm just adding in those two new tags. I'm going to select them and assign them both to that book. And then that one will be all ready to go. You can also add in several books at a time, and that's usually what I do. Is I will have a whole stack of books and I will just go through. I'll select that I'm going to be uploading multiple barcodes, and I'll just scan one book after another. What it will do is once I've scanned all of them, it'll tell me how many of them have been found, because especially on some older books, it won't be able to find that barcode, and those ones will have to enter in manually. So like you can see, there's a book here that doesn't have a barcode. I'll show you how to look that up here in a minute. But you just, again, scan all of the different barcodes, and then it can go through, and then you can adjust each of those entries. So for these, I'm going to go through and I'm going to just mark the tags that I'm going to give each of them and save it, and then they will all be added to my little library. Now, if you do have a book that doesn't have a barcode or that can't be found, you can add it in manually, or you can search online. So if I search online, it just pulls up like a Google search bar. I'm going to put in the title of the book and the author, and it will pull up different options, and I can select which one is the one that I have or is pretty close to the one I have. For example, here I'm looking up this book, To Be a Slave. It didn't have a barcode. And it brings up a few options. Now, they don't match exactly like the cover that I have, and it might be from a different, printing, but it's the same book. So I'm just going to select one of these to then add to my library, and I'll put the tags onto it just like I do with everything else. But this app has been so worth the few dollars I spent on it. It's helped me organize our library so much faster, and it's kept me from rebuying books I already own more than one occasion.
All right, so forgive me if I sound a little bit sniffly. I am at the tail end of Vacation Bible School Week at my church, which I run. I am really, really worn down at this point. I had originally scheduled Bible school to run on a week when I was off, because I used to work a 7-day on, 7-day off schedule. So I planned it for a week I wasn't supposed to work, and then I had to switch jobs. And so I did have to work this week. And I worked Monday night into Tuesday night into Wednesday night, and Thursday night into today. And then I get off work and I have a few hours to sleep, and then it's right to Bible school, and then it's right back to work. So I'm horribly sleep deprived at this point, and I think it's catching up to me in the form of a cold. And it's freezing down here, which is why I'm wearing a sweatshirt in the middle of June. Anywho's, I said I would talk a little bit about the cost that comes with a literature-based curriculum. And every course is going to be different, and every company is going to have different recommendations. What I'm familiar with are the Guest Hallow programs, because that's what we have fallen in love with, and that is what we use. Now, they, for each course, give you a book list and they rank all of their books. I've talked about this a bunch of times, how they rank the books of 1 to 4. Basically, if you can manage to get all of the number 1 books and the majority of the number 2 books, you are golden. There have been books that are ranked 3 or 4, though, that we have loved. And I've tried to mention those in, quarterly recaps and day in the life videos and things like that. If you are looking for something specific, like if you want to know what our favorite books were for a particular course, drop a comment, let me know. I would be happy to tell you a few of our favorite ones, or the ones that just kind of, gave us what we thought was a lot of great information. But you can start by limiting it to just those books that are higher ranked. The other thing is to look for free books. Like, go to your library. See what's available. I mean, it's going to tell you right there on their schedules what weeks you need the books. There are some that you're going to need for like many weeks, or some you'll use for more than 1 year. Those ones, go ahead and buy. I mean, the Patriots history one, big book. It wasn't super expensive, but it wasn't the cheapest. But we're going to use it all year long, so it's worth to buy. But other ones you might only use for a week or 2. So go to your library and see if you can get it. Now, the library may or may not have everything you need, but you can also look at like Open Library and see if they're available to rent, if your kids don't mind reading like a Kindle type book. Going on to Amazon, there are lots of more affordable ways to get it than to simply buy the book new. Again, you can look for a Kindle version. If your child prefers to do audiobooks, many of these books are available in audiobook format. A lot of them are free or very inexpensive if you have an Audible membership. So if your student's going to listen to a lot of audiobooks, it might be worthwhile to get an Audible membership, either just to have for your household or consider it as something like a Christmas gift. I used to buy Audible memberships for my husband because he hates to read print books, but he loves to listen to audiobooks. But I digress. That is one way to save money. One of the things I do is I always look at what kind of used books are available on Amazon. So if you go and look up a particular book on Amazon, it's going to show you the price new. And then you can go down to like the other buying options. So I'll just show you an example here on the screen. And you can go over and you can have it rank it by like how good of a condition the book is in. You can ask for the lowest combined cost, because some of them it'll be a cost plus shipping, but it will show you the lowest price to the highest price with that combined cost. So maybe the book costs $1 and shipping is $4. So it's, right around a $5 book, but then the next book down costs $6 with free shipping. Well, the book with shipping overall costs less. And then at the top, it will continue to show you what the cost is of the book new. So if you're saving a worthwhile amount of money. To me, if I'm saving at least a couple of bucks per book, that is a couple bucks per book. And I am happy with that, because that adds up, especially when you're ordering dozens of books every year. I will take any savings that I can get. I have also found that it really doesn't matter if I order the books in excellent condition, good condition, acceptable condition. I don't think I've ever had a book sent to me that was in an unusable form. Like, some of them have looked, a little bit rough, but you know what? My kids are going to abuse them anyway. So what's the difference if it looks sparkly new or if it already looks like it's a well-loved book? I don't care. As long as it's something that has all of the pages and the bindings not falling apart and they can read it, that works for me. So how much am I actually spending on books this year? Well, let me go ahead and I will show you, I'll put up a screenshot here. I'll show you kind of what I've ordered for each of the courses, what it was ranked, and then I'll put how much it showed new, and then I'll show how much I actually paid for it so you can get a comparison here. So first up on the screen, I'll show the books that I have ordered for my daughter's anatomy course. And again, I didn't order every single book. There were some books that I didn't think she'd really enjoy. Like there was like Drawing Optical Illusions. There were a couple of additional like ranked number 4 novels. It just kind of felt a little repetitive, so I didn't order those. But here's the list of everything I did order, and then you can see the ranking, the like new price, and then what I actually paid for it. And then I'll show you next for my son's American history course. So same deal. I did order, I think, almost all the recommended books for that course. Again, for a couple of reasons. Some of them are going to be more like reference books. We're going to look at them at different times. There's a lot of graphic novels, which I think he'll read through rather quickly. And then there are books that were listed there You won't see on there the books that are listed as either scheduled books or unscheduled books that we're actually going to use for his literature course. Those will be all separate. Now, even with me buying books used and trying to find deals on them, it is an expense, just like anything else, right? But I look at it in a few different ways. First of all, if my kids were in public school, I would be paying book rental fees, right? Every year. At least in our state, I'd be paying book rental fees. And most of those books would not be brand new, and they would be well-loved textbooks. I would be paying for a lot of extra school supplies and school support fees and all of this other stuff. Like, public school is not totally free, right? There are still things that we have to pay for if your kids go to public school. So I would have the cost of all of that. The other thing is that I do budget for homeschooling. Every year I kind of sit down and I think, well, how much do I want to invest into my homeschool? Because this is a big part of our life. This is my children's education. So to me, it is worthwhile to put some extra money back for it. I don't go get my nails done. I try to limit how much I do Starbucks runs and things like that. I don't spend frivolously. I can't talk. You know the word I'm trying to say. Bear with me. Cold. The only thing that I spend money on that I probably don't need to spend as much on are plants. But can you blame me? I love plants. Anyways, but I don't buy a lot of excess things that I don't need. This is a priority. I budget accordingly for it. So I know that we're going to do literature-based curriculum. I know that I'm going to have a good number of books to buy, and it's worth it to me to make that investment. Not only because they'll use it for that course, but I think expanding our home library is never a bad thing. So it's just something to consider there. Anyways, thank you for joining me for today's video. I know it was a little bit kind of all over the place, and I didn't actually do any cleaning in this video. However, let me know what you guys think, because I'm really unsure what to do with this whole space here. Should I get rid of the 9-drawer unit for my daughter and condense things down? I think I definitely need that extra bookcase though. Guys, I have nowhere else to store books. But this is just kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to keep trucking away at this. I might make a Walmart run to go ahead and get that second bookcase, or that, I guess now it'll be a 4th bookcase, to try to get some things set up and on the up and out of the way. But we will get it done. It will be all ready to go well before the start of our school year. I will just feel a lot better having it all cleaned and organized and kind of that piece of things done, and I can check that off of my June project goals. If you have questions about anything, our curriculum, the Book Buddy app, the literature-based programs that we're using, stuff that you see in my homeschool room, feel free to drop a comment and let me know, and I will get to answering all of those. If you'd like to get more details on how our homeschool room is set up, I will link the videos down below showing you our homeschool room tour and the remodeling, kind of the setup that I did last year, because there were a lot of changes that happened last year, but I've really liked overall how this space has worked. It's just now I'm kind of thinking ahead to the future when I have just one student. How is this room going to be utilized differently? And even more depressing is, what am I going to do with all this space when I have no students at home? So just kind of thinking ahead into the future of what this space will eventually be. Thanks so much for joining me for today's video, everybody. I will see you in the next one, and until then, happy homeschooling.